Dear Dhamma friends, this is the time for our day's Dhamma talk. To start the Dhamma talk, you may concentrate and sing sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katavanca bhikkhave rupam chattaro ca maha bhuta chatunnam maha bhutanam upadaya rupam idam ucchati bhikkhave rupam ahara samudayo rupa samudayo ahara nirodho rupa nirodho ayameva ariyo attangiko bhakko siyati tam Samma ditti samma sankappo samma vaca samma kammanto samma ajivo samma vayamo samma sati samma samadhi yang uccati bhikkave rupa nirodhagamini patipadāriya sacchanti. Dear Dhamma friends, I recited the early part from the same discourse that we took as our main topic for the series. As I introduced yesterday, the name of that particular sutta is known as Upadana Pariwatta Sutta, and translated as the 4 phases of the clinging associated with the aggregates, clinging associated with the aggregate. So, this you find in the teaching of the Buddha, known as Sutta Pitaka out of 3 baskets, which is related with the discourses, specifically in the Samyutta Nikaya, Khanda Samyutta. The basic theme or basic message is, the Buddha, he says, our problem of suffering, or his salvation, the human from the suffering, one has to be understood the nature of suffering. One has to understand the root cause, proximate cause of suffering, and whenever this root cause is removed, the liberation from suffering, and the path will leading to that liberation. And this understanding, he specifically in this particular discourse going to show in 5 ways, or in other words we can say a being, an entity, a man or woman can be recognized as an agglomeration of 5 aggregates, each and every one helpful for us to understand the truth of suffering. Each and every one is helping us to understand the root cause of suffering, proximate cause for suffering. Each one is understanding us to get rid of this, how to get rid of this suffering, the root cause or the lack of the root cause, and last, the way leading to this liberation, emancipation. So what are these 5? The first one is known as the materiality of form, as a aggregates, usually people cling into. The second one is the feelings as an aggregate. The third one is perception. Fourth one is volitional formations or mental formations. The fifth one is the consciousness. So, introducing these yesterday, we went into the very first part, the materiality, the form, the matter as such. So today I thought of dealing it little further, taking the already cited part in this particular discourse. It says, O monks, what does it mean by the form, or matter, or materiality, or corporeality? The Buddha says, Chattaro ca maha bhuta chatunnam maha bhutanam upadaya rupa. Idam uccati bhikkhave rupa. This is the definition of the Buddha, he says the form, what does it mean by the form, or the body, or the corporeal, or the matter, is four elements, and they are derivatives. So whenever someone is going to understand in deep, that we say that four elements are quite common and well discussed in the canonical teachings. But whenever you are to understand there are derivatives, it has not been well dealt or discussed in the canon itself, but in the later secondary data analysis, something like Abhidhamma and the commentaries, they have listed what does it mean by the derivatives or the shapes and the forms of the four elements, namely basically you have to understand that four elements means the earth elements, the water element, the air element and the heat element. So where they are derivatives explained as the sensitivity of the eye, the sensitivity of the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, they are recognized as forms or body or materiality or corporeality. And the very objects impinging or external objects come in avenue with the eye is known as visual objects, and sounds, the smells, the taste, the touch, tactile sensation, they are also recognized as the derivatives of the four cardinal elements. And likewise, there are 18 recognized as concrete, that is verifiable and touchable. And there are some other 10 recognized as not concrete, something like the space in between these materiality, and there are some functions. So that is how in the commentarial exegesis it come up to 28 total. But some question them and they are not willing to accept as it is, because when you are going to the direct canonical or specifically the discourses or suttas, you don't find it. But the hint has been given for basic elements and they are derivatives. So this is the form. So therefore, whenever the Buddha referring to these aggregates of form or corporeality or materiality or body, indicates in technical term the four elements. And the second question is asking what does it mean by or what is the proximate cause for these four elements. So there you have to have a fair amount of theory knowledge or book knowledge to understand how this material come into being. What are the proximate cause for this matter to manifest? It says there are four nutriments. That means one thing is the thing that we are chewing and drinking and licking. That is called Kamalikara Ahara. That is the matter itself. And in addition to that, very interestingly, Buddha says the contact, the pasta itself is going to manifest the matter. The matter which is leading to suffering. So in other words, we can say whatever the suffering we are experiencing with related to matter is not the whatever available in the universe, but the very little part which come into contact with us is the part going to give suffering. Whatever the other thing which is not yet contacted, which is not come face to face with us, or came aligned with us, avenue to us, never create any suffering, and therefore upon that we have nothing to maintain. Whatever the contact in us is the culprit. means whatever we are associating, basically whatever we love, whatever the dear and near, are the one going to give the suffering. That is something very difficult to comprehend, and many do not like to see this perspective too. So that is why the Buddha says, Penato Jayati Soko, the affection is the one creating suffering. Whatever the matter, we associate due to our likings and disliking, come in often contact with us. Whenever such a contact going to happen, this is the one creating suffering. For that only we have to maintain. So therefore, one of the root cause for the matter is the food or nutriment. The second nutriment is the contact. The third one is our volitional formations. Mano Sanchetana Ahara. The last one is the consciousness. So, out of 4 that Buddha enumerated, 3 are immaterial. The very first one is the food. So, this is a kind of leading the materiality of form or matter into some kind of a mystics. The matter is partly or majority, mainly depend upon this kind of immaterial thing, the contact, the volitional formation, or mental formations, or applications, and the consciousness. So how are we going to make use this knowledge when you are doing direct meditation, mindfulness on the in-breath and out-breath, or mindfulness on the rising and falling of the abdomen, or mindfulness on the right leg and the left. They are, as we discussed yesterday, basically we are aiming at the air element out of 4 elements, and they are also the contact. Whenever the air come and touch on our sensitivity of the body, that is the point where we are focused on. That become our primary object. Therefore, it is called Vayu Potthapa Dhatu. The contact nature of the air element is the one we take it as the primary object. So, therefore, once you sit, you let the breathing to take place in the normal way, and when that come into face to face with your mind, mental, knowing mind, the second alignment that you are searching for, or focusing at is, where does it touch? But some people find it is very difficult to get to such a touching point. Still they feel the breath, but there is no such a prominent touching point. That does not indicate they are disqualified or impotent for the meditation. So they can keep on with the normal air, normal in-breath and out-breath. And while keep on practicing, when the mindfulness and the concentration come up to a certain degree, then they can, their sensitivity increases, then they can feel it. That is why maybe sometimes when you are trying to see the touch of the air, they find difficult at the end of the nostril or on top of their lips, upper lip. Instead they find cross activity at the diaphragm or at the rising and falling. That is also representing the same the element. So that's also valid. So whenever you are going to isolate, this touching point is just another refinement, another fine calibration. So you are sharpening your mindfulness. So when you are starting the breath, say for example, after the walking meditation, soon you see, you can feel that touch in a cross way. That is why in the Satipatthana Sutta and others, the Buddha says, whenever you come in contact with the in-breath and out-breath, first you see long in-breath and long out-breath. That means a very gross, rough, touching sensation. And when everything becomes calm and collected, the long in-breath becomes shorter. So that the yogis can experience whenever there are no much of outside distractions, provided that you have a silent place and a comfortable sitting and mind is fairly free from wandering thoughts. Then if the breath becomes face to face, then slowly, the touch, the grossness of the touch becomes subtler and subtler. So that is the way we are calming down the touch as a food for this materiality or air element. So when it becomes subtle and subtle, that means we are reducing the friction, we are reducing the grossness, we are going to the very subtle layers. That itself is an alleviation of many, it's an indication of alleviation of many mental stress and frustration and wandering minds, distraction from the sound, so mind is face to face with the breath, and that is also becomes subtle and subtle. So that is something to be promoted. And in order to take the situation under control and promote it, whenever possible, the meditator is asked to see the subtle arising part of the breath, and when that preparedness and when that diligence and the vigilance is going to manifest, go and go. More preparedness at the beginning of the in-breath, you are really facilitating this calming down of the brain. Because more and more you facilitate the beginning of the in-breath, you are bound to see the end of the in-breath. More and more you are to see the beginning of the out-breath, you are bound to see the end of the out-breath. That is why the Buddha says, as far as the materiality is concerned, if you see the cause of suffering, the touch itself is become subtle, then the cessation of it, the passing away of it also, you can go to the very subtle layers. So your attention, your facilitation must be to see the beginning of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. That you see the beginning of the suffering in terms of the in-breath, beginning of the suffering in front of the out-breath. So if you are looking at it, that very understanding of the beginning is yielding and leading you to the tapering end of the in-breath as well as out-breath. So that indicates if you are to see the beginning of suffering, then and there you are naturally leading to the cessation of suffering. This is a very magical connection. Those who can calm down the breath can go into see the beginning of the suffering. So beginning of the touch, beginning of the in-breath, beginning of the out-breath. More and more you go there, naturally that very sharpness of the mind, very sensitivity of the mind will read the cessation of the in-breath and the cessation of the out-breath. Of course, the yogi, whatever the mindfulness and the effort and the faith is there, hardly they can see the beginning of the in-breath and the end of the out-breath, beginning of the out-breath and the end of the out-breath. Sometimes, if they are sharp enough, they can see the beginning of the in-breath and the end of the out-breath. That means in-breath and out-breath as a one single wave. Or sometimes, still, they are not managing to see the beginning of the in-breath and beginning of the out-breath. Sometimes they can see the breath itself as slowly becoming subtler and subtler and subtler. These are representing the same pattern in the one in-breath and out-breath, or in-breath out-breath as one cycle, or the breath itself goes to the subtlety going on. So when you are experiencing that for the first time, it takes minutes for you to calm down the body, the mind and the breath. But if you are doing the same pattern, in the same trend, without breaking, you will telescope it within very few breaths time, provided that the background conditions are good, you can experience very subtle breath. That means you are bound to see the beginning of the touching, or passa in Pali, the contact, and the end of the contact. So this is a very scientific or one-to-one relationship. As far as the mind is free of other distractions, if you keep it face-to-face with the, if you manage to keep it face-to-face with the breath, definitely it is calming down. If it is not so, it is due to other secondary objects. So, without worrying about that, if you can keep it at some sittings, you can go to the very deep layers. But the thing is, the contact of the air has four elements. The Buddha said the first one is the normal food. That is how the energy comes into your body for breathing. And the second thing is the contact that you traced due to your sharpness on the meditation. And then Mano Sanchetanahara, whenever the breath becomes subtle, your volitions or volitional formations, mental formation become aggravated. That is the only thing you have to take care of, or that you must be prepared. That is because, it is due to a number of reasons, we'll try to summarize them as much as possible. More and more the breath becomes subtle, the mind read it as something becoming monotonous. It read it as something becoming boredom. And due to this boredom and the monotony, other objects, secondary objects, sometimes take in the upper hand. Even tiny bodily pains become amplified. And astray thoughts, wandering thoughts, they are all the time, but due to the monotony, due to the boredom toward the primary object, the background thoughts sometimes going to take the upper hand. Ultimately you feel all of a sudden thoughts come and overwhelm you. Or sometimes even the tickling sound of the clock or outside simple sounds going to become irritating. That is because one thing is the primary object becomes subtle. The second thing is that very subtlety, we don't read it as a good thing. We sometimes become agitated. We sometimes become bored upon and monotonous. And sometimes develop kind of a fear. Develop kind of uncertainty. Feel like lost. So whenever such situation happens, mind is trying to catch whatever may be into the vicinity, like sounds, the pains and the thoughts. So they are ultimately, that very mind is coming and complaining. Again, thoughts start to come, sounds start to come, and pain start to come. So therefore, if you are good with theory knowledge and well versed about this and go prepared, there you can understand with the pain becoming increased, or due to the subtlety of the breath, pain become more amplified. If the pain becomes amplified due to the subtlety of the breath, it's a very good double positive sign that you're progressing. But even then, if you can't interpret it in the proper way, that will lead to anxiety. That will lead to irritation towards your body. Exactly the way according to individuals' character traits, individuals' likings and dislikings, one or the other thing is going to take the upper hand. That is because your sensitivity increasing. The primary object is becoming subtle and subtle. So therefore, if you are not going prepared, the volitional activities, the will, the motivations are to find some other rescue, some other way out. So there are the shifting of the attention can take place. So many yogis, serious people, serious yogis are get caught up in that situation, it's become a vortex. Then onward, they are forgetting about their primary object and trying to engage with the sounds and the thoughts and the pain, and ultimately losing the track. So there you have to have a very clear understanding with your own trial and error that this is a shifting, this is a change over, this is a change of the shifting of the paradigm. And if you are to keep still the attention with the primary object at the midst of all the thoughts and the pain and the sounds, few things, prerequisites are necessary. That means you have to go prepared. The other one is, you must have an idea, whatever may be the good or bad thing happen, I must never lose sight of the primary object. And the third thing is, this is not your mistake. Everyone has to go through this the servings. So therefore, this is a very good test. It's a kind of a to push to pass you into the second grade, to the higher grade. Definitely this is you have to go through. And there's no one to help you. So therefore this is a kind of an acid test. So with all kind of trial and error and faith and energy and mindfulness, if you manage to hold on to the primary object, even though it is not prominent, even though you feel bored, it is a kind of a test. What would happen is, unless otherwise you are instructed, due to the lack of grossness of the breathing, sometimes some people go into do force breathing. That is also completely distracting the concentration and the mindfulness. Ultimately, you end up with headaches. The second thing is, you due to the fear and uncertainty, you tend to open your eyes, and there are all the concentration and the mindfulness will be scattered. Or if you can't manage it, if you do not have enough energy, there's an escapism of the mind so that it falls into sleepiness. But whenever this subtlety happens, you slip into the sleepiness and then you miss the bus. Or sometimes you entertain doubts. What is happening? Because there are a lot of things are going to change. For example, from the material or form or corporeality becomes subtle and subtle and subtle. So mind is now preparing to go into the non-material sphere, and this changeover is something to be mastered. Not by one night, not by overnight. You have to do it again and again. Something like a pilot is training to be an astronaut, whereby he is leaving the gravitational force of the Earth, and he is training himself to work in the non-gravitational zones, so that it's a special training. You can't do it as far as you are in the Earth, but you have to definitely expect, if you wish to be an astronaut, how to work with, because these things are not being that. Like here, when you go to the space. So likewise, your boundaries are breaking, and values and all the judgment, they are going to be scattered off, and the difference between breath and out-breath disappears. At least the difference between the object of meditation and meditating mind also disappears. They merge each other, and all the conventions are slowly dropping. So even if you wish, you can't note it, because there is no in-breath and out-breath. Under such circumstances, mind tends to entertain doubts. So that is why the successful yogis has to go prepared at that level, not to entertain, not to let it fall into sleep, not to open your eyes, or not to go for force breathing. And when that happens, you must be really facilitating it, let the mindfulness to take the upper hand. And it is very simple if you are giving the chance for the mindfulness, but very difficult because you have to lose your likings and dislikes. You have to lose your identity. You have to lose your ego, and that is the most difficult part. So therefore, when and where the meditation going to take its own momentum, the sanchetana, mano sanchetana, that means the volitional activities are going to cross and they are going to melt down. That is why in the Satipatthana Sutta, it says after experiencing and training the short in-breath and out-breath, rasama asasami rasama asasanto rasam asasami pajanati rasama pasananto rasam asasami pajanati. Then the Buddha says, the sampakaya patisangvedi asasisami sikkati, sampakaya patisangvedi pasasisami sikkati. Sampakaya means here, not only the cross middle of the in-breath, you are bound, you are facilitating and helping to see the beginning of the in-breath, the middle of the in-breath and the middle of the end of the in-breath. And the beginning of the out-breath, middle of the out-breath and the end of the out-breath. So that you are bound to see very subtle start at the subtle end, that is called Sampakaya, the whole breath body. So when that happens, when your mind is going to very subtle layer, Kaya Sankarasam, Pasambaya Kaya Sankaram, Asasi Samiti Sikkati, Pasambaya Kaya Sankaram, Asasi Samiti Sikkati. They are the fourth stage, the Buddha says, you have to calm down the volitional activities related to the corporeal mentality. That is to not to entertain thoughts, not to do force feeding. Don't add any turmoil to this calm and quiet flow. That means you must understand the value not to fork your fingers, let the meditation to take place and withdraw yourself. That is being advised whenever thinking mind, say doubts going to happen, you must disclaim these doubts. These doubts are not me, not mine, not myself. If any fear going to happen, or any uncertainty going to happen, boredom going to happen, or monotony going to happen, all these things are becoming good signs if you are not hating it. That means if you go unprepared, definitely you develop kind of irritation based on hatred. If you go prepared, you can see this irritation. You can see this underlying tendency of hatred. It appears like a misinterpretation. It appears like a doubt. It appears like get up and go. So all these things has to be calmed down. I think that is the most difficult for a rational mind. And that I can put it in this way, meditation is easy, but the acceptance of very results is very difficult. Because we think we have a mindset. We have some mental figures as good meditation. But what happens is, everything going to become calm down and settled, and ultimately boundaries gone, everything become one, and you yourself also become dissolved. So in order to go prepare for that, you must know the art of disclaiming. At that time, many things are going to happen. Some things are good, some things are bad. So therefore, anyone is going to going with a certain amount of mind frame, definitely get trapped. And even the very subtle things also going to arise over there due to the balance of meditation and subtlety of the meditation, they become amplified. So you have to be very careful not to entertain that kind of byproducts or not to hate them. So therefore, some books are really enumerating the possible traps, possible pitfalls, Whenever the breath becomes very calm, whenever it becomes unperceivable, sometimes the mind runs up and down according to the time dimension. That means mind is naturally going backward past. And you are bound to see some of your memories in your past life, a very lucid way, very succinct way, and very lively way. Some teachers says, for example, if you meet with an accident, and if you break your bone, for the moment it may be healed, but under this kind of situation, you are bound to feel that accident, and you are bound to feel your bone, which is cracked. And appear like you are really now in the accident. It's so vivid it becomes. And some of your past relatives and all the kind of people appear like coming and talking with you. And the good and bad events going to manifest for the second time as if it is more than reality. And due to the lack of burden, that means due to the breaking up of the in and out boundaries, that mind becomes so relaxed. Sometimes it appears like a loss of your ego and you get dissolved into nothingness. So therefore those who know it can manage and go beyond. Otherwise, each and everything, this rational mind is going to digest, going to rationalize it. Each and every time that means the direct touch will be replaced by the theoretical knowledges and your likings and dislikings, your personality traits. So it's a huge amount of refinement going to take place. So all the good things and all the bad things you have to understand, nothing but the hallucination, nothing but the mind. In thinking that or considering that or disclaiming that, you must always try to adhere to your primary object, but unfortunate thing is primary object also very subtle, very difficult to trace. So that is why the mind becomes bewildered. So whenever you cut through this thicket of jungle, and you are bound to feel kind of a gladness because you are developing your own ways and means to maintain the balance of your ship in this stormy weather. Whenever you are developing, kind of a gladness going to happen, kind of a rapture going to happen, kind of a serenity going to happen. All these things also become magnetized, and you are sometimes going to go into that line. So therefore, whatever the boredom, the monotony, the sleepiness, the uncertainty, the lost idea, and the hatred, everything is one side. And whenever you are sorting out one by one, the good side here. Each and everything explicit to extremes. You must always try to find the middle path. Not to get carried away by this hatred or uncertainty or fearfulness, or not to get carried away by elated feeling of the gladness and the rapture. They are very, very active and immediate under such circumstances because it's a transitional period. So that is why the Buddha says, whenever you are experiencing this kind of thing, not of course in the teaching of the Buddha, but teachers are telling, next time you have to go prepare. Whenever the mind becomes subtle, your normal mindfulness is not enough. You have to have double-fold mindfulness. Otherwise, very difficult to navigate under such circumstances. So they are understanding the mistakes and the traps in the negative side and the so-called achievement in this side. Both are doing the same damage. You get caught up in the turmoil and then you lose the material. So whenever the materiality becomes subtle, it's become a a real challenge, and I will put it this way, if you are meditating, not the Nibbana or the cessation as your final aim, if you are meditating to have short objectives, definitely you are going to get trapped. Short objective like healing effect and cure and your memory capacity, seeing the past life or future predictions, all these things will be given. That very giving itself is a trap. So therefore present-day American Buddhism is completely business Buddhism. They are selling Buddhism for short objectives. I am not going to say that they will not be successful, but I am telling their success itself is the faith. They never make use this potential, high potential inside meditation to see through their ignorance. Instead, they are using it to entertain or gratify their sensuous pleasure. The sensuous pleasure can appear in different forms. So therefore, best thing is don't recognize with your sensuous pleasure whether it is perverted or direct. Don't recognize the failure or success as yours. Disclaim as much as possible. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not my soul. My main aim is to see things as they are. If the discouragement is going to happen, you see it. If an encouragement is going to happen, you see it as it is. This is how you have to navigate. So therefore, once you experience this kind of good signs, I mean that settling down of the primary object, and the body also yielding and it is calmed down, the breath as the mindfulness becomes subtle. If that is the case, next day you have to go prepared with the correct way. So this is represented in the presentation of Four Noble Truths. The Buddha says, whenever you are to see the beginning of the suffering, you are bound to see the end of suffering. That means if you are bound to see the beginning of in-breath, you are bound to see the end of the in-breath. If you are bound to see the beginning of the out-breath, you are bound to see the beginning of the out-breath too. Exactly. In future, definitely we are going to deal it in detail. We are bound to see the arising part of your anger. Definitely that is the real answer for the, or real observation of the end of the anger. If you are bound to see the beginning of the desire, that is the exactly answer for the desire, and you are bound to see it is discrete. Likewise, whenever you see the form, the touch sensation of the materiality or air element, if you see the beginning, you are bound to see the end. But whenever you are going to see the end, a lot of interpretations, a lot of calculations, a lot of doubts, a lot of things going to happen. So you get trapped and you will open your eyes and you get up and go. Ultimately you will regret telling that you got a good chance, but due to your thinking, rationalizing or interpreting, you missed the bus. So this is, I am again repeating, this is not an individual mistake, this is the way we call trial and error. So once you see that you have the capacity to see this subtlety of the breath, that is indicating you have the potential. Not only that, you have once in a way you have touched it. So then only next day when you are going there, you are one step ahead. That means you know the potential. When and where that subtlety happens, you must keep a mindset. It is more rich with correct way. So that the second day you are going with this correct view is happening because yesterday's glimpse of seeing the end of suffering. That is why the Four Noble Truths are given. First, the suffering, and second is the cause of suffering. The third is the end of suffering, and next day only you are ready with, or next moment only you are ready with, the pathway leading to suffering. Pathway leading to suffering happens once you see the glimpse. This is true even for the through path and fruition knowledge also. Even the calming down of the breath, whenever for the first time is going to happen, your rational mind come and play with it. Mess up with it. Don't go. Next day you have to go prepared. That's the same calm is going to happen. Be mindful so that you have the correct view. Correct view means to avoid the two extremes. Self-indulgence or sensuous indulgence or self-hatred. So when the breath becomes subtler and subtler, you have to be really prepared, not letting it to be fall into sleep or to take it down. So force breathing or opening your eyes. Extremes, avoiding the extreme and navigate in a very subtle way. And for that, it is sorry to say, no teacher can guide you. By your trial and error only you have to do it. One of the examples that I cited most of the time, I found is communicable. So when you are driving a car, and if you are on the uphill, there's no indicator where you have to go for a heavy gear as the climbing on. You may be at the foothill, you are climbing at the top gear. But after a while, the driver has to feel, now it has to change into the heavy gear. And when you are changing from the light gear to the heavy gear, the synchronization of the gas, the speed and the gear, not a single handbook can tell you. It is none of the business of the engineer. Engineers can't say this is the time you must shield third gear to the second gear, and there you have to give this much of gas, and you must have this much of speed, and you must pull the gear in this speed, and then only it will be entered in without the friction, without knocking, and then this is the way you have to release the clutch. Of course, I am telling engineers are very bad drivers. Only the drivers can tackle it without any engineering. That is because due to their repetitive application. Exactly the way when the meditation is becoming ready, I mean that form, materiality or the corporeality becomes subtle and subtle, a lot of this kind of repercussions, volitional activities, the will, the motivations start frothing. They become very, very agitated. So there you have to understand how to navigate in the troubled water. So Pasamaya Kaya Sankara, that means your volitional activities regarding the form must be as calm as possible. Never entertain any will, any wish, any motivation. All the motivation, all the will, all the volitions are sensuous. Not a single volition in our life is leading to Nibbana. So therefore Nibbana is recognized as Sabba Sankhara Samatha. Whenever all the volitions drop off, when the mind, when the volitional free mind going to work, that is the taste of Nibbana. So therefore your complete withdrawal of yourself, complete withdrawal of your conceit, complete withdrawal of your desire is theoretically, and you have to, going by preparedness, you have to put it into practice there. No, there are no other guidelines. So meditation is definitely fruitful, but the thing is our rational mind is always jumping and disturbing it. So how much of the discussions and the interviews are important, you have to judge yourself. Whatever the theory knowledge you have, not a single theory book can explain you what to do under such circumstances. And whatever the faith, whatever the energy, whatever the mindfulness, the concentration and the wisdom, they are not going to help in this moment. Only your trial and error, and that trial and error also with the proper interpretation, next day you can go to. So therefore you have to associate with other spiritual friends. Those friends also must be openly discussing with you, this is what happened in my case and this is what I did under such volatile situations. So that will not be exactly applicable for you, but you can get hints. So when I was in Nilambe and practicing, I had no any kind of theory knowledge of the Buddhism. Of course, we are born Buddhists, but you know this area is never you find in the books. And when I am participating, basically we did discussions, open discussions, participating, I was so shy because discussion was going happening. English medium, my English was so weak. So I am just listening. But anyway, I was interested in taking part in the discussion because I am getting double positive, my question also being asked and the answer also being given. Just by listening. So therefore, in a dynamic discussion, your question is the one everyone is asking. Because we are talking about the human mind. Even though we call this is my mind, this is my problem, this is my character trait, this is my personality, that is due to ignorance, we are hugging into this kind of a thing. But whenever you are going into the advancement of the meditation, you understand the human. It manifests in the different ways under different personalities in the individuals, but when they are verbalizing and articulating, you can feel it. So that is very important. That is why sometimes this is the time period of the Buddhist dispensation. Without such, not a single one can become enlightened. Because our mind is so get trapped either in self-mortification or in indulgence of the senses, or in pleasure or pain, or in the gain or in the lost. So therefore, not to shaken yourself by these vicissitudes of the gain and the loss and the pain and the pleasure kind of thing, it's never you will be taught in the classrooms. Never you will be given in this worldly knowledge. Worldly knowledge, sorry to say, always paralyzed. Always teaching you to increase the pleasure. It's a hedonic, pleasure-seeking game. So therefore, they will never teach you how to work in the such a transition period. That is why Buddha says, whenever you come to know now mind is prepared to go that means you know there's a potential for you to see the cessation. Soon your cessation, then only you have to assimilate the pathway leading to cessation that called the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path is starting with the correct view. That correct view you can't find in the books. Usually correct view says not to indulge in the self-mortification and the sensuous gratification. This is a theoretical way, but it is very subtle under such situation how to navigate without falling into good or bad. So therefore some Westerners put it in as an attribution of the mindfulness. They say you must have evenly a suspended attention. You must not try to increase one side or decrease one side. You have to see the things as and when it is arising without any choice. That is called choiceless awareness. You can say the same thing, that is non-judgmental observation, non-reactional observation. So that is the the best definition for Sammaditthi or correct. That means your ego is withdrawn, your conceit is withdrawn, no desire-based decision. You are simply not taking a decision. That simply you can say, no volition, no sankhara, no adjustments, no will, no motivation. You let the mindfulness to see things as they are. So even at the material level or forms or in the corporeality, when it is becoming subtle, you are met up with very subtle challenges. Day by day, the facets, face value changing. So the Buddha, in order to reinforce yourself, galvanize yourself, it says, whenever the breath becomes subtle, not only the external other facets changing, the face value or facets of breath itself is changing. It says there are 11 facets you have to master. Till you finish it, you can't claim that you have seen the breath. You have mastered the breath. So that means we have already taught the gross form and the subtle form. So whenever this transition is going to happen, the desirability and undesirability are going to play head. Some people are very happy with the gross breath. When it becomes subtle, they become scared. Some people are hating the gross breath and they are expecting and waiting to go for the subtle breath. So that means they are getting trapped into this hina-panita or desirable and undesirable form of the breath. Whatever it may be, you have to have equal equipoise mind. Sometimes the breath appears at the very touching point where you started, maybe at the end of the left nostril, we say. That means you feel it there. Sometimes it is completely coming inside to your brain. The dislodgement happens as far as the touching place is concerned. Of course, it's very subtle. But even then, when you try to see at the point where you have seen earlier, it will be dislodged. And sometimes it is going far away, a few meters or a few kilometers. Breath is there, the pattern is there, you are definitely following, but it is far away. Sometimes it appears like internal, external wise, within you, what you call myself. Sometimes going without. There also you go bewildered as to, am I thinking or it is really happening? Sometimes the breath becomes 3 dimensions in time-wise, the past form, the future form and the present form. Present form is what I call the cross-in breath and cross-out breath. That is what we like. But sometimes, when the meditation is deepening, you can see the beginning, and when the middle and the end happens, you become unmindful. You are ready to see the beginning of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. Beginning of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. So, you may doubt, am I pay attention in the middle and the end? And sometimes you are bound to see the end of the in-breath and the end of the out-breath. May entertain doubts, thinking am I losing the beginning and the middle? So, this is how the mind becomes versatile, or mind becomes trained to see all the facets. So, whenever one thing is specializing, others become not prominent. But these are different facets, different phases. So, you have to keep on practicing. You can't see 11 facets in one talk. You are seeing them in different moments, but the deductive knowledge ultimately make it like a Lego set. Pieces are being fixed and you can take the configuration of the brain. So therefore, when the outside is changing, like in and out changing, margin changes, in and out breathing, discrimination disappears, materiality to the mentality going to change, take place, and the object and the meditating mind become merging each other. When such a situation, you must be very careful to see all the possible facets. Don't try to get carried away by the so-called negative experiences of the meditation and the positive experiences. If it is so, the first and foremost thing happening is you are losing the contact with the breath. You are cutting off from the breath. So it is a natural thing. You can't do away that. But my hint is, whenever possible, establish the connection with the breath. Whether it is liking or disliking, desirable or undesirable. Subtle or close so far, in or out, past form, future form or present form. You have to make sure this is the breath. So this is how you are mastering not only the four elements. That is, at the beginning you are starting with the air element, but soon you will say the in-breath is cooler, out-breath is warmer, thereby the heat and cold element also there. Sometimes you may feel the breath as the water column going up and down, and something like liquid, sometimes like dust, sometimes like air. So the earth element, the water element, they are manifesting by giving a different sensation in the breath. Each and everything is valid. As far as you are not visualizing, as far as you are not thinking, you are not putting the deductive knowledges, then don't limit your experience, let it go as far as the mindfulness is leading, and all the kind of thing going to happen. So non-judgmental, non-interpreting, non-reactional, unassuming way, development is what I would like to say. The first and foremost part of Eightfold Path is correct view. Any view is wrong. That is the only interpretation. No view is the correct view. This is the only chance you can implement. That means you have to give up whatever may be the views you hold, and then what is the correct thought going to happen. Whenever the view is corrected, then you understand Samma Sankappa. Samma Sankappa means no volition, no will, no steering, no controlling. You let it going to happen. That means no egoistic kind of manipulations, no conceit, no desire. So therefore, Samma Sankappa, that is correct thought going to happen. That means no thought in this sense. When that happens only, Samma Vāga, Samma Karma, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, that means that you understand in your day-to-day activities also how much you are forking your fingers out of your egoistic ideas, out of your conceit, out of your cheating idea, mind to maximize the gain. Otherwise you can observe the thing and just wait without getting committed. So the sitting meditation is at large in the society, in your day-to-day activities. You can understand if the mind is not guarded or prepared with the mindfulness, it's always try to get committed. That is also accumulating of karma. Means accumulation of or entertaining of volitions. So you will question, how can one live without a volition? How can one live without a will? How can one without objectives kind of? Of course, objectives and the will and all the kind of leading, I would say rather misleading, to do with establishing this samskara. The day you understand each and every will is ill will or evil, that is the day you will understand that the samsara is suffering. So whenever the Arthur Schopenhauer presented that idea, whole Germany blackguarded him, telling that he is nihilistic. Destructive, because he told, he wrote a very specific, at least one philosophy on the will. He told each and every will is evil. So that is why Buddha says, Sabbe sankhara dukkha, sabbe sankhara anicca. Sankhara means the volition, basically, the will. all are leading to impermanence, all are leading to suffering. That we are very delayed to understand it. Whenever the mind becomes relaxed, we try to implement or impose our will, our motivation, our volition, and that is how we are going to get our one-upmanship. I am much smarter, I am much more productive, I am much more creative, and that is ultimately whatever me the productivity, creativity, I become will consolidate. So here you can just do the experimental basis, whenever the breath becomes subtle, just not to give the food of mano sanchetana ahara, not to give volition, not to give any will, not to have any intention, just have an equally suspended attention. When that happens, the consciousness itself has no place, not necessary. The things are happening in the natural order. That is called tatata or suchness. And when that suchness happens, you will see it is contented by itself, saturated by itself, never otherwise. So therefore, whenever the consciousness withdraws, that withdrawal should happen in the gradual basis, the dhammata, the natural order, going to work. So that is the only point you can say you are living. You will be all the time, otherwise you are in a dream, or you are trying to live. You are organizing your life, you are never living. The moment the mind withdraws, the intention withdraws, the contact is gone, and the things are happening in its own accord, at the more aesthetic moment in the life. And that is called most saturated moment in the life. That is the most contented moment in the life, but very difficult for you to communicate. You can't put it into words. You can't put it into books. You can't tell to the others. Whenever you are going to communicate, the volitions, the mind, the contact, everything come into being and take the mean advantage. So therefore, the real truth of the Dhamma cannot be communicated. Unless otherwise mind to mind. So therefore, of course, we are reading the books and listening to Dhamma and discussing everything happening in terms of symbols, in terms of language. So all the language have its own limitation. Whenever it is the materiality going to calm down and subtle and become boundaries gone, all the language stops. That may be one reason we become very, very upset, very, very isolated, cornered, outcasted, because we feel like cut off from the information technology. But one very beautiful thing is happening. As far as you are cutting off to the outwardly, you are completely becoming inwardly. For the first time, your heart and the brain going to talk each other. As far as you are outwardly, never your heart is listening to the brain, never the brain listens to the heart, so therefore always internal conflict. That is why there are always outside signals, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, and each and every experience is your outwardly. Whenever the mind comes inwardly, you feel cornered, you feel bored, you feel isolated, you feel colorless, you feel no dramatic. So that is because of the conditioning of our mind. So this deconditioning process is a multidimensional thing. So first and foremost sign is that calming down of your materiality, whether it is rising and falling, in-breath and out-breath. There you have to reinforce with your past experience and be prepared. And if you manage to not to get committed with any kind of thing, day by day the refinement is going. It is like you are peeling off an onion. At the beginning it is very gross and big, and when you remove the first sheet, you find difficult to see the beginning of the next sheet. So you have to touch it for a long time, then you get it, and then you can remove that sheet, and then you are exposed to the still subtle sheet with the very subtle ends. It takes time. And more you remove, ultimately ending up with nothing. Because at the middle of the onion, there's no pit. There's no essence. At the beginning, when you take it to the big one, you feel everything, and slowly, you are removing. So therefore, when you are reading this sutta in a serious way, it says, even if you can manage this form, the materiality, the corporeality, that itself is a great achievement, because it is leading to the all disentanglement of the feelings, perception, volitional and mind. Some people, after settling down or calming down of the materiality, their attention is going to the feeling sphere, and there they can proceed with the feelings. Some people go into the perception, so there are many bifold paths. So, even if you can master one path, or one aggregate, that is leading to very subtle moments. But anyway, the Buddha never give one single full path. He always give variety of ways, because individual tastes are different, individual entanglements are different, so therefore this entanglement is different. So in this sutta also, there are other 4 aggregates that is taught into the 5, keep on going. So today what I tried was to go a little deep into the disentanglement towards materiality, and that itself is demanding so much of subtlety. So that means, again I am telling you, can't expect such a thing overnight. So without losing your interest, do continue with slowly. You will assimilate your own middle part. You will assimilate your own ways and means. That is the most valuable thing in your career. And more you develop your ways and means, you will understand more and more the teaching of the Buddha. And not only that, you will understand who is the Buddha is. So that is why the Buddha says, whenever you try to understand the cause and effect relationship, you are bound to see the Dhamma, the teaching of it. Whenever someone is see the Dhamma, is bound to see the Buddha. So that I hope this information also helpful for you to do the fine calculation and the fine tuning. With that, you can sharpen your mindfulness and hopefully. Thank you very much for this. So we have taken about 1 hour and 15 minutes time. Today we had no any discussions also. So I invite if you have anything, any statements or questions or any good for the discussion and for any.
One day, you have a question. Just asking correct or wrong. Some people have just said just before to attend Kotabati to see for these formations like circle of Dhamma and all these various pictures of Buddha and see the race. Is that true or is it mind playing games?
We understand definitely playing games. Because passing through the materiality, the Dhammapada says, everything is mind as the forerunner, and mind as the creator, mind is the core. As far as you are in the materiality, you can see the shapes and the manners, so you can share with the other, this is that in shape and but when you go to feelings, perception kind of thing, there is no such a thing you can do. So therefore you are living in your values. And you think that other person is understanding what you are telling. They don't understand. Because he is living in his own values. That only we can understand. Yeah, we have brought up in our own background, in our culture. So our value system is completely intrinsic. Very difficult for one to talk with the other person assured that communication is taking place. So therefore, not only that, our mind and the brain and the heart communication is also broken. So therefore, a lot of things are happening. So hallucination and imagination, everything happens in shapes. Information are two dimensions, shapes and the manners. This is the information. So it has to take a shape of manners, otherwise no communication. So once you become Sotapanna, so once you go through certain stages of insight knowledges, when you have to talk with another person, you have to put into language. You have to put into all the epithets, information. That is what the Tripitaka came into being, to communicate with each other. And they are just symbols. Communication, when it is taking place, must be definitely beyond signals. Symbols. Symbols means Montessori work. Whenever the symbols go on only, real communication takes place. So therefore, people meditating not for Nibbana but for other magics, they are writing a lot of books. Whenever half-hearted mind happens, these things are bubbling, so they stop there and start writing words. And ultimately what they do is, they miss the bus, they miss the progress. So therefore, the thing is, not a single one I have seen and heard, those who have not fallen into this trap. Everyone is getting caught up, but the thing is, do it least as the justice. In Sinhala, we call you know that if you can reduce the amount of mistakes, you are better off. But our crafty mind is doing all the possible colorful parts. Never selected the path because it can be very pale. It's very less dramatic. It can be very boring. So always circling around and finding the dramatic parts. So therefore, we are paying so much of our karmic forces if you are discentered in this force. So therefore, don't get discouraged or don't think it's a mistake. That is the crafty mind. The thing is mind. Therefore, the teacher says, always underestimate. It's very safe. Always underestimate, because mind is always try to overestimate yourself. And ultimately you are blowing the balloon. Therefore, underestimation is safer. And the other thing is, don't try to brag. Don't try to show off others. Be very humble. Think about the Buddha, what the little thing he did. With the Buddha, compare the Buddha, what little achievement we have. So we have nothing to show off. So if somebody is asking in a general sharing, telling that this is what I experienced, you have no authority. You have no authentic power. This is me and I am giving to you. So in the Dhammajiva, all the other things you can record your patent here and get the knowledge. Until the discovery you have, you can patent record and you can get the knowledge. But in Dhamma, it's impossible. There is no one's authority.
I have a question about attitude towards viewing scenery or beautiful things, flowers and so on, and towards music. Now, when I read the precepts that Buddha has told us, he told us to avoid dancing, music, and so on. Now, about scenery, what could the attitude be when you see beautiful flowers? Now it avoids, it's not, is it a good thing, can it have a bad effect, and so on. For example, Krishnamurti speaks of choiceless awareness. In his descriptions, he always describes scenery around with great detail as if he is acutely sensitive to all that. So, what would the Buddha say, or what does the class say? Is it worth growing beautiful flowers and having things around us? Is there a right way of appreciating or is there a wrong way of falling slave to this sensual pleasure that we get from the flowers? Similarly, music also, some people say Carnatic music in India or Western music, classical music, can have a good influence on the mind. Fast kind of music is the one that really corrupts and so on. So is there a right way of appreciating music, or is it something, there are certain types of music, certain ways of appreciating music that are welcome, or is it something that we should avoid as Buddha has said?
Whether it is a scenery or music, hearing or smelling or touching or tasting, the Buddha says that yes, it is action, reaction and synthesis. Thesis, antithesis and synthesis. So that means Dvara, Aramana and Taduguna. Or the strike element, base element and the ignition element. In seeing a flower, the flower is the visual object. It has to come and contact with your sensitive eye or eye sensitivity. If the sensitive eye is not there, you are being called blind, or there is no light or something like that. Even the flower is there, you can't see. The flower must be there, and then the like a film in the camera, the sensitivity must be there, and then the impingement will come and takes place. This come and impinge in your film, that is in your retina. When that happens, the mind must not be otherworldly. It must be, of course, at that moment. Then only seeing can take place. The visual object, the sensitivity of the eye, and the consciousness must be eye consciousness, not otherworldly. So when this happens, the seeing takes place, and then you are going to feel, you are going to, that is called touching. These things are touching, and the mind also comes there, and the person becomes a seer, observer. When that happens, immediately, without any interruption, whenever the contact happens, the feeling will happen. Feeling as either it is good, auspicious, or bad. So when that happens, up to the contact, there is no good, no bad, no defilements. But whenever you touch it, whenever you feel it, the value judgment comes into being. It's good or bad, it is not an attribution of the flower, not an attribution of your eye, not an attribution of your first thought, consciousness. It is your own likings and dislikings. Whenever the seeing going to happen, not a single person can do away with liking and disliking. Either desire arises or the undesirability arises. So when these two happens, you are already taken for a ride. Whether it's good or bad. So if it is good, the underlying tendency of desire is going to asking you to take a photo, enlarge it, keep it in your wall, all the things are going. If it is something wrong, you will write a petition to the city council, why you are keeping it like that. If it is bad, you would have removed it before I come. And so when something see, and if it is not creating any kind of an impulse, they never go to your memory. If it is not creating good or bad, never go into your memory. They then and there brush off. Whatever impinging is, always have a desire or undesire. It is not the attribution of the flower. That is the way you apprehend. So the Buddha says, whenever such a thing happens, be mindful as to what is coming from out to in, what is coming from in to out. Out to in means that the color and the shape of the flower, or maybe a carcass, or bullshit or something. that is actually. But whenever you see it, your value judgment is something coming from into the out. And that is completely impromptu. All of a sudden it happens. And does the volition have any controlling power? If there is no controlling power, that means untrained mind. Whenever it happens, desire happens. Whenever it happens, undesirability happens. So that is how the situation is going to take you under control. You become a slave. So Buddha says, whenever see, be mindful. You are not hearing, you are not smelling, you are not touching, you are not thinking, but you are seeing. So you have to understand now what is my mindset. Am I in a desirable form or undesirable form? Not that desirability, undesirability, then you are safe. If you are concerned about the object, that means you are completely taken, carried away by the desire and the undesirability, you will ultimately decide this object is auspicious. Object is unauspicious. Buddha says the object itself has no such a thing. You are the one due the attributions, due to your influxes, due to your likings and disliking of your personality. So therefore ultimately you will find case against this one, thinking it is creating good and the bad. So that is what you see that you are.
So there is nothing good or bad about these things.
But the untrained mind is always taken to either negative or positive. But the Buddha says, trained mind will understand not only the negative positive, there's in between, no pleasure, no pain kind of a feeling. That is the way out. That is what you get in between the in-breath and out-breath. The gap. No pain, no pleasure. When the breathing are very subtle, the feeling is no pain, no pleasure. That's what you have to develop. And you may find most of the time we are in it. But we never recognize it because it is not dramatic. It is not giving any kind of a titillation. It is not giving any kind of a starting. So therefore we miss the bus. Always going for better thing. When it is not there, the suffering happens. So you are always in the bipolar. Either liking or disliking, but middle is the one. No pain, no pleasure. You can't do it by rationalizing. You can't do it by the teacher's grace. You can't get it by learning. Nothing. But when there is no such a seeing, you have to take one object and go to the very subtle layers and understand no pain, no pleasure. And make it your second nature. Then you will understand this is the point we say. Now we are in a corrupted mind because of our pleasure-seeking game. We are always trying to seek something good, something pleasurable. More and more you try to see the pleasurable, but you end up eating the unpleasurable. And whatever may be, you are missing the no pain, no pleasure. So it is in terms of the pleasure. And exactly we can explain the same thing in terms of the perception. Exactly you can explain in the volition. Exactly you can explain in the consciousness.
So that means a person will not actively go after these things for satisfaction in the music or beautiful scenery, nor will he take trouble to promote these things actively and all that.
No, not taking trouble to demote also.
Both ways. If they do it, then they can do it, but I am not going to be active.
Whenever it happens, you must understand they have their vicious qualities to safeguard yourself. It is a good rock music or jazz music or classic. Music is music. Whatever the impingements they become a matter, they become a case because it is stimulating. In a good positive or negative, that is why it becomes a problem for you. Which is not titillating you, which is not becoming a dramatic, is not the case. So that is the point of the race, that way out is there. They are very pale, very not dramatic. They are not eventful. So therefore we go show, carnival, the event, the America. They are very mindful, Las Vegas. But even if you train the mind, even the Las Vegas, you know how to maintain the mind. The Las Vegas by itself is not a filth. It's not a bad thing. The way you observe it. And that is also, you can't do one overnight. You have to understand mind. You have the third dimension, where no pain, no pleasure. You have to develop up to the things, that must become your second nature. It is not to taken by the vicissitudes of the life. All the time, when the children go to the park, when they are sitting on the seesaw, they are sitting in the edge. So that's the most dramatic point. Go up and down. But when you go middle, then you can feel the same wave that you are in the middle. The maturity means you come to the center. When you come there, you feel the same wave, but not so dramatic.
To see or to understand this nature is not by rational. But then, what should I do? What should I do with that?
So that not to understand the nature, you have to understand how the nature leading or misleading you. When you see a flower and a desirability happen, you must not just wait and see the flower, you must understand your desirability also in the same time. Then you are better off. How the flower coming in with you, how you evaluate it, how your value judgment. Your value judgment is a completely independent thing from the flower. You think it is the same.
We need to observe the process.
Then and there, how the desire arises, how the undesirability arises. As and when you see, if you can see underlying tendency, then you are better. It's a way.
Because then you can stop it.
And even stopping can happen out of hate. Yes. Don't try to stop it. That means that you are going to wipe it off. No. It's a human being.
Not stopping hate, but I'm saying stop the upadana.
Upadana itself is you must not let it go. You must understand Upadana as Upadana. Attachment as attachment, then there is no attachment. You must not try to get rid of the attachment. Then the hatred comes. And it is you are taken for another circle. So that is why the moralists are called up. Any religion have moralists. They are the worst lot. Even though they are talking about the moral, they are the worst lot. So don't get into that. So when color happens, if it is desirable, look at it and see when the red happens, how the desire is. That means you are not only seeing at the strike element, you are not only seeing at the base element, when these two happen, how the ignition happens, how the outcome. And mind you, that is specific to you. Unless otherwise, you are there. As and when it happens, immediately you will give a different interpretation, so you have to write there. It says that whenever the spark or lightning happens on the sky, that moment before, look at the sky, no signs. And soon after the spark, you look at no signs. If you wish to see the arc, immediately at that very moment you have to see. Exactly each and every seeing, every hearing, you have to understand there is a kind of influx. You give it to value judgment. That value judgment is indicating who you are. If you wish to understand who am I, there you have to be fully vigilant, without delay, mindful. How these likings and disliking come and taken you for a ride.
So what you're saying is by understanding, you stop getting carried away.
Still I am not asking you to specialize it because it is happening through your the moralist idea. Don't do it. Just see as and when it happens. For example, this machine is catching sounds. The machine never gets corrupted because it has no value judgment about whether the Buddha is speaking or anyone is speaking. It doesn't know. There is no validity, so therefore machine never get enlightened. Or machine will never get polluted. Or the camera has no idea about what he is shooting. So therefore camera can never used. But our eye, it's not so. It gets corrupted. Because each time it is value judgment is there, you don't know what is coming and putting there. The best example given by my teacher, whenever the sewing machine, if the needle goes down, one thing comes and hook down. Without the hook down, no stitch. When the hooking comes from the bobbin, you can't see. So whenever the needle go down, we put the hook there. So likewise, whenever the seeing happens, there's something we add. That is how the attachment happens. That is how the stitch is going on.
So actually, we're supposed to be the one who observe how the needle get in, but not to stop the needle.
Stop, not
from
even
from movement.
Yeah, they let the movement, because that you can't stop the world.
Just to see how it goes.
The daily the sun will come out the east and disappear in the west. You can't stop it. The flowers come and they are original colors and the shapes are there. And everyone come and contact. Contact means your involvement, your commitment. Your commitment means easily liking and disliking.
But the problem is, just to see, sometimes I'm not there yet, it's too quick, then it's already gone. And then I will be dragging into it. How can I be faster?
So that is the desire, that is the way the desire works. That is means you are a slave rather than you are the master.
Right.
You are a slave. The situation because of the value judgment. Because the camera has no that capacity to catch and go there and catch unless you take. So the Buddha says, use this eye as a camera. Even if an eyed person behave like a blind. You only see no judgment, no commentary, no value judgment. It appears like a disqualification, but Buddha says this is the highest qualification if you can do it. So much so you are not the slave to what you have seen.
You can apply the same thing if somebody say bad words to you.
For the negative side, you will be really appreciated. When he is asking the music, classic music, and aesthetic part, it appears like very innocent. I don't know, I have the attraction. But whether you know or not, you are a slave. But specifically, when someone is nagaring you, and if you can understand, he must have got the wrong information. If I am going to retaliate, unwanted problems, so you just with the neutral mind, you just face without retaliation. So then what happens? He has no energy to keep on. So one day the high caste Brahmin came to know during the time of the Buddha. Buddha is talking about the caste system. Buddha is talking about not to respect all the people. By birth they are not respectable. By deeds only they become respectable, so therefore nothing to worry. So this Brahmin was very upset because that's all the well-established system. Whenever he goes there, everyone has to respect and do, and everyone has to listen to him, but instead Buddha is talking something other. So when he goes there, and he expected Buddha to come and open the door and ask him to sit. Buddha never gave that kind of courtesy. And he came and sit and told that I am an elderly person, you are young, you are not respecting me, and kind of Buddha says, I don't find any person that I can receive my respect. So then the person starts blackguarding like Buddha, anything over Buddha is just listening. And then after a while he asks, finished it? No, I have still more this time. After finishing, he asks, I will ask a question and you may answer accordingly. So you and your wife is preparing some kind of a cake or cake or something like that and go to a visitor's house. You are visiting your auntie. And when you go there, the person is not at home. The door is closed. So what you do, you will keep the person into the doorstep or come back, or will you bring it back to your home? He says that I don't know when he is going to come. So therefore, if you keep it there, the dog may come in and anything can take. Therefore, whatever I bring, I take home. Exactly like now you bought me something. At my home, no one is there. So you have to bring all home and eat your wife. Eat your wife. All the black arguments. I am not accepting because there is no one to accept it. So likewise, you can empty your cup. Have no opinion. Mind you, that is the only moment you are living. All the other time you are living with the past judgments, past value system, past perception. So you feel protected because your value system is accepted and all the time, but what happens is you are in a rusted and already rotten self. Then you can understand the children. You don't have any value system, otherwise parents are, teachers are putting it. But I am not telling that not to teach children, but I am giving you an example. So they will not be carried away by whatever they see. They don't see it is social law, unsocial law, it's a filthy. They have no value judgment. They're so beautiful. And then the animals, they also have no moral, immoral kind of thing. So their behavior is from the morning to evening, beginning to the end, exactly the same whatever the value judgment you have. They have value judgment for their foods and kind of thing, but for the morality, no. So we have the morality, we are misusing it. Morality have a limited value. If you are misusing it, you are going to impose morality to the others. Dangerous. Mind your business. You can be moral up to any whatever you need. And don't expect from your child. Don't expect from your parents. Don't expect from your dear and even that is what we call, that is the Donald Trump, that is called Western interest. It's a dangerous thing. Only humans have that feeling. Animals don't have. So they are not concerned about that. So that does not indicate morality as a bad thing, but you don't know how to use it. We always do as we like, and then expect the world to be very moral. We are not giving the example that we expect from the others. That you are cheating yourself, ultimately corrupting the communication, leading to a chaotic situation. Okay, 990. Any other comments or any other questions or any? There are no other comments. We'll, as suggested, we get chant Karnimita Sutta and then share the merit with all the seen and unseen beings. We successfully did the second day and thanking all the people who helped and sharing merit with all the dear and near ones and straightening of our objectives. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhasse. Karaniya mattya kusalene yantam santam padam abhisamicche. Sakko ujucha sujuche suvacho chassa budu anatimani. Santussa kocha suparoche ampakiccho cha sallauka buddhi. Shantindriyo cha nipakoche ampakaggo kulesu ananukitto. Nachakutam samacariya kinchiyena vinyu pare upavadeyo. Sukhino vakhe සුඛිනෝ හන්තු සබ්බේ සත්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතත්තා යේ කේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසාවා භවරවා මනවශේෂා ඊඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මච්චිමාරස්ස දිඨාවායේ වනද්දිඨායේ ච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසී වා සබ්බේ සත්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතත්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත නාති මඤ්ඤේත කත්තචිනං කංචි යාරෝසනා පටිඝ සංඥානාඤ්ඤ මඤ්ඤස්ස දුක්ඛ මිච්ඡේය ආදායතාඤ්ඤං බුද්ධං ආයසායේක පුත්ත මනුරක්ඛේ එවං පිසබ්බ භූතේසු මාන සම්භාවයේ අපරිමාණ එත්තං ච සබ්බ ලෝකස්මින් මාන සම්භාවයේ අපරිමාණ බුද්ධං අදෝච තිරියං ච අසංඝාදං අවේරං අසපත්තං චිත්තං චරං නිසින්නෝ වාසයානෝ ආයාවතස්ස විගත මිද්දෝ ඒතං සතින් අදිත්තේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාවෝ ඉච්ඡිච්ඡ අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දස්සදේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනේය්‍යකේතං නයිජාතු කප්පසෙය්‍යං පුනරේති ඒතේන සච්ච වච්චේන සොත්ති හෝතු සබ්බදා ඒතේන සච්ච වච්චේන සොත්තිකේ හෝතු සබ්බදා ඒතේන සච්ච වච්චේන සොත්තිකේ හෝතු සබ්බදා ඉත්තාවතාච ගම්මේහි සම්පතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පතං සබ්බේ දීවානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ඉත්තාවතාච ගම්මේහි සම්පතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පතං භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ඉත්තාවතාච ගම්මේහි සම්පතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පතං සබ්බේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ආකාශට්ටා ච බුම්මට්ටා දීවානාගා මහිත්‍තිකා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිत्वा චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ශාසනං ආකාශට්ටා ච බුම්මට්ටා දීවානාගා මහිත්‍තිකා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිत्वा චිරං රක්ඛන්තු දේශනං ආකාශත්තා ච බුම්මත්තා දීවානාගා මහිත්‍තිකා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිत्वा චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මං පරං ඉදං වෝ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමි බාල සමාගමෝ අතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිපානපත්තිය ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමි බාල සමාගමෝ අතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිපානපත්තිය ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමි බාල සමාගමෝ සතං ධම්මා